Okay, this is about finding the missing dimension. This is a little bit trickier than me just asking you to find the area of a rectangle. So let's think through it one more time. You will be asked to find a missing dimension for your area for rectangles. So let's think through. Jean is creating a rectangular garden like the one below. Okay, rectangle checks out. We have 12 feet, and then I see an H. So I need to figure out what that H is, I'm thinking. He wants the area of his garden. All right, good. We're not doing volume. This isn't like some prism. This is area of his garden to be no more than 96 feet squared. The base is 12 feet long. Okay, got it. What inequality represents all the possible lengths? Okay, remember inequalities say that it can be anything greater or less than a certain number. Okay, of the height that Jean can use to build his garden. So we are solving for the height, and the area can be no more than 96 feet. Okay, so let's think about how we would write that to begin with. So we know area is the base times height, but we're not equaling. It doesn't say his garden has to be equal to 96 feet. It says no more than. All right. So what sign goes with no more than? Is it the greater than sign, greater than or equal to, less than, or less than or equal to? All right, if you can have no more than a certain amount, you can have that number or less. If I say you can have no more than 5 tabs open at a time, you can have 5 tabs open or less. So the area could be equal to that number or less than that number. All right, so no more than is going to be less than or equal to. And the base and the height, or formula is base times height. So let's go ahead and plug in our numbers. So now my area, I know, okay, so 96, the area can be no more than, when these two are multiplied, so 12 times H. Let's try this again. Okay. All right, so if he wants the area of his garden to be no more than 96 feet squared, then, all right, one more time. All right, so let's start by writing our equation. All right, we have a couple things we need to do. We need to solve to find a missing dimension, and we need to write it as an inequality. Means we're not going to be using an equal sign. We're going to be using greater than, less than, or greater than or equal to, or less than or equal to, one of those. So let's start by finding our dimension, okay? And how do we do that? So we know the formula for area is area equals base times height, okay? And let's plug in what we know. So if the area equals base times height, and I know that the area can be no more than 96 feet, okay? My base is going to be 12, and the height is what I don't know. Then this is what I have so far. Now we know how to solve equations. When they're one step, we have one variable, okay? We see that they're being multiplied. So to get that variable alone, we're going to do the opposite and divide, okay? Also, it makes sense if you think about to find the area, we multiply. So to undo the area, we're going to divide. All right, so we need to do 96 divided by 12. 96 divided by 12. All right, I know a lot of people would make a top-bottom chart or guess and check. I would like you to solve, and then I'll put the answer up, okay? Whether you did repeated addition or top-bottom charts, you should have found that 12 goes into 96 exactly 8 times. See, if I do 12 times 8, I get 96. Okay, so we know that this can be rewritten as 8 is the height, but we're not looking for an equation. We need to make this an inequality, all right? So I'm going to flip it, and we're going to think through how this is phrased. So the height, the missing piece, has to have some relationship to 8, okay, the number that we found for the height. And that's only if the area is exactly 96. But his area has to be no more than, okay? So I want you to think about what inequality sign would go with no more than. All right, if I say you can have no more than 5 tabs open at a time, you can have 5 tabs or less. If I say you can have no more than 2 cookies after dinner, you can have 2 cookies or less. So you could have that amount or less than that amount. Okay? All right. So ultimately, his height would need to be less than or equal to 8 to have an area that's no more than 96 feet squared. Okay? To find a missing dimension, you need to go backwards and divide. And if you're thinking of an inequality, when you have your number, go ahead and set it up with your variable and decide what inequality symbol matches the keywords in your problem.